Welcome to the Investor Financing Podcast, where we interview real estate investors and lenders so you can learn all the secrets to getting your projects funded and scale your portfolio. Learn about fix and flip loans, BRRRR financing, rental, fix to rent, commercial, multifamily bridge loans, business loans, and so much more. And now, your host, Beau Eckstein.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Investor Financing Podcasts. And today we are going to talk about adding a square footage to your fix and flip product, or your property rather, and some tips for you to get higher leverage financing with better rates and terms. So let's get started. So one strategy that I work with many borrowers on is they're adding square footage, whether within the envelope of the property or expanding up or out on the property itself. So typically when they go into acquisition of the property, the plans aren't approved. So here's kind of a two-pronged approach to funding these transactions. And I'll give you some tips to make it easier on yourself while trying to search for financing. Tip number one is try to work with the same lender, okay? So they know the plan from the start. So you're going to go into an acquisition type bridge loan first, right? You're going to acquire the property. Typically, you're going to put down 10 or 20 or 30%, and then you're going to have some soft costs associated with getting your plans done, permit fees and so forth. During that time, as you're getting the plans worked on, you're visiting with the architect, you're figuring out the floor plans. Once your draft is done by your architect or drafts person, you can then go back to your existing lender and let them know that now you're ready to.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break. Are you looking for funding? Are you getting frustrated trying to find a lender? Visit investorfinancingpodcast.com and click the Get Funding button. Complete the simple form and schedule a free phone consultation with one of our placement specialists. We have a proprietary directory of funding partners that can help you get the funding you need. It's fast and easy to explore the options available for your specific needs. Don't wait. Visit investorfinancingpodcast.com and get connected.
Do the additional flip funding. So what we would do from there is we would take your plans once they're drafted, and then we would get a subject to completion appraisal. So it says, okay, when this property is expanded 1,000 square feet and you put these level of finishes in this property, the subject to completion appraisal is going to be worth X. So at that point, then we're ready to go and we can refinance the existing debt, and then we can go up to 90% of the original purchase price, and then 100%, and our construction holdback would be 100% of the repair costs, right? So now you're able to leverage the new value. So it's usually easier to stick with the same lender. And if they know from the start the plan, it just makes things a lot more streamlined. Another tip too is keep track. Obviously, you're going to keep your closing statement, but keep track of all the soft costs you put into the property going forward. This way, you can show that you put in even more capital, and sometimes you need that depending on what the loan amount is or the loan to value versus the after renovated value. We would go to 70% of the ARV loan to value. So we go, if it appraised at $1 million, our gross loan amount could not exceed 70% or 700,000. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of, where people are, adding 1,000 square feet, or they're adding a bedroom, bathroom. They're creating a lot of value, and I'm trying to help them create more leverage. And once again, working with a direct funding source, you're going to cut out the fat of the middleman, so you'll be able to get the best rates and terms. So that's another tip for you. You always want to make sure they're direct, and you always want to show your track record, right? Because we want to see, have you done anything in the past with this much rehab? If all your flips have been $50,000 rehab budgets, and now you're doing a $500,000 rehab budget, we take a look at that, and that's that's what we kind of weigh our decision on as far as, does this borrower have the experience to get this project done? Their previous fix and flip deals have only been $50,000 renovation. Now there's a $500,000 renovation. So let's address this all up front, and we can structure you the best financing possible this way. And also what's important too is when you're, make sure your scope of work is really detailed, okay? Get solid bids, and also include level of finishes, right? If you want to get the highest appraised value based on the level of finishes, you got to be detailed. And a lot of people send over, you know, a half-ass scope of work, and then they're pissed off if an appraisal comes in lower, but they got to convey what's going to be done. And also, which is important, is to show comparables, show that there's a good amount of comps that support the added square footage, and it will appraise at what you're thinking it's going to appraise for. Anyhow, thanks for listening. If you have any questions in regards to anything fix and flip, rental real estate, anything non-owner occupied, multifamily, please reach out to me, and I appreciate you listening. If you enjoy these podcasts, please share with your colleagues, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. For show notes and useful resources, please visit investorfinancingpodcast.com. For questions or comments, email info@investorfinancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy our show, please share it with your network. Until next time.